Perfect.
Well, welcome everybody. We are super excited today. I was looking through Salon today the other day, and I was like, wow, this salon had a 35% growth in revenue year over year. And for those of you that want to put a dollar amount to that, it was over $500,000. And I was like, I'm just going to reach out to the Verde Salon and see if they'll respond to us and we can bring it to our listeners. And lo and behold, not one, but two people we have with us today. We have Colleen, the vice president, and we have Broooke, the general manager. And I'm going to have them just kind of introduce themselves and give a brief background before we dive into how they had that increase. So, Broooke, we'll start with you.
Sure. Yeah. I've been with Verde Salon for just over 2.5 years, coming up 3 very soon. And part of one of the growth reasons that they had was because they were able to hire a salon experience manager to really take over driving what was happening in marketing and in those meetings and actually putting boots on the ground and motivating the team and having somebody right in there. And then from there, I was able to hire an assistant. So now we have somebody at both locations every day, having boots on the ground, motivating the team, checking in constantly. And then from there, we're able to grow our marketing team from not 1, but 2 to now 3 people. So it's pretty amazing to have that on our staff as well. It's everybody always says everybody's a marketing business. It's just what you're marketing. So we really take that really seriously, and it's helped us grow immensely.
I love that. I can't wait to dive in more about the marketing team and marketing meetings, because I know that is not something that is very heavy in the salon world. But I mean, to do
So
that type of
important.
growth, it's definitely something that we need to look at. So thank you, Broooke, and welcome, Colleen.
Thank you so much for having us. So I've been in the industry for about 15 years. I've worked for a few different product companies. Education's been something really near and dear to my heart. And I did educate at the Aveda Institute for a little bit before Roberto and I kind of took off and opened up Verde Salon. So our first location about 7.5 years ago, which is crazy. It feels like it was last year. And then we've opened another location since then, and hopefully more to come. So yeah, one of our, most important aspects when we decided that we're going to open a salon is we want to create an environment where people love to be there. They feel supported. And I think hairstylists can get like a rap sometimes, or hair salon can get a bad rap of being like a place where it's just like, oh, it's, toxic and there's gossip. And we're like, we want to cut that out. That's not what we want. And we want to create this unbelievable environment. And that's kind of how it all started. And that's been our vision since the very beginning. And I think that's really helped with our growth as well.
I love that. You brought up a great point that I'm gonna hit on. Before we dive into marketing, you brought up toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
How do you avoid that in the salon world? Because that is very not always present, but I think the stigma of a salon is toxic happens a lot. So how do you set yourself up for success in that?
Yeah, so from the beginning, we had a standard, and we knew this was a standard. There's not going to be any like gossip in the back room. You know what? We have an open door policy. If you have any challenges, any issues, please come talk to us. And one thing we really stand behind is if people do bring any challenges to us, we want to celebrate that. So it's not like we don't take that as a negative. We're like, oh, thank God. That's always what we'd say is, you know what? Imagine if they just didn't bring that to our attention. So we're lucky that they felt comfortable enough to bring that to us. So we want to make sure everybody feels heard. So I think that's number one. If people bring things to you and they're like, that's not right, or whatever, they're not going to do it again. And that's when I think toxicity starts. And then from there, it's building a base culture. And I think we have the culture now where people have expectations of each other. So it's not just us having to watch it. So people kind of maintain culture in each of our locations every day. So people that fit that culture want to be here. And, if somebody weren't going to fit that culture, or, they're not here.
I was going to say recruitment is really, really important in that. We really try to find the right people. We always say we can teach skill, we can teach a technical, but we really try to find the correct people. Someone who's a great person means more than if they can do a straight haircut, so we can teach that.
And Speaking of recruitment, how are you recruiting? Because I know that that's been a challenge for the past few years, especially getting qualified. So are you in schools? Are you on Indeed, or what does that look like for you?
Yeah, we have a really strong recruitment process right now. We're really close with the Aveda Institute. We really like to try to be there as much as we possibly can. We like to make ourselves known in the building. We go to their career fairs. We introduce ourselves to each new class. We have different touch points that we do with them throughout the year. So every class gets to see our face at least 3 or 4 times. We try to be there. Colleen does some great education for the school. So we're always trying to be there and just build that relationship with the students to be like, hey, we're here and we've got something really great to offer you. So
this is music to my ears. I'm just like, okay, so our salon teams have to hear this as well as all the people that we coach, because that's the #1 pain point, of course. And I was wondering if you guys could back up a little bit, because I would just love to hear like the whole complexity of your salon. How many stylists? How big is it? And, let's also talk to the salon owners that are just getting started. And because this has been not that long, 7.5 years, you've grown very fast. So give us a little bit of background in that and advice along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just telling one of my guests this yesterday. So we have 12 chairs in our flagship location, which is our Bridgewater location, which we opened about 7.5 years ago. And I remember Roberto, who's the owner of the Verde Institute. He owns one of our locations, and I co-own with him our other location. And we were standing, looking into our salon space and being like, we can just envision this being full of stylists and guests and just like that buzz and everyone busy and just having this amazing experience. And so we knew kind of like right from the start, this is what we want to see. So part of it was being patient. We weren't just hiring for the sake of filling chairs. That is never going to work. So it works for a short amount of time. In most cases, long-term, it's not ideal. So we had long-term in our brain from the start. And we knew what that meant was creating a culture and growing new talent into that culture. You see so often salon owners or managers looking to hire people, and it's like, we want you to come with a clientele. You need to have a big clientele, all this stuff. And for us, we're like, you know what, if not a single person follows you, I mean, we hope they do, but if not a single person follows you, we know that you will be busy. So we actually go as far as like guaranteeing a certain wage for a certain amount of time, because it can be scary for people to come over, right? But our main process is hiring new talent and growing them. So that's kind of been how we've done it at both locations. Brooke, what do you add?
I was just gonna say, I was like, hiring new talent is obviously an investment, but if you find the right people, like we try to do, and we have our checks and balances to do that, we have a rigorous interview process. We do virtual interview, group interview, technical interview. We do a working shadow shift. So there are a lot of ways that we try to make sure that they're a right fit for the team and that they're a right fit that we're a right fit for them too, right? Like we might not necessarily be the right fit for them. They might be like, oh, this is a lot, or, oh, I love this. This is really motivating. So we really try to find the right people. And right now we're getting about an average of 6 to 8 applicants per graduating class.
Wow.
So it's pretty amazing. And I would love to have a spot for every single one. We always say we would love to hire all of you, but maybe not right now, but hopefully in the future when we have 4, 5, 6, 7 locations.
How have you guys created that buzz of, we've been talking with our teams about this in salons that we're coaching as well too. And so how have you created that buzz to get there? Because I'm sure it might have started out slow at first, right? So what's your secret?
I think a few different things. One being what Brooke had talked about, which is being present in the salon. People like, then, when she goes back to visit or goes back to pick something up, she kind of feels like a celebrity because people are like,
I do. Yeah. When you say being present in the school, are you like, what do you do? Like give some tangible ideas to salon owners.
Every class that starts, I send them like cupcakes or cookies, and I do a video of myself just saying, hey, my name's Brooke. I'm the general manager of Verde Salon. It's so great to meet you. It really takes no effort on my part. The cupcakes get delivered and the video takes a minute, and I send it to the educator and they play it, right? So right from there, they have a good connotation with my name, cupcakes, and then they see me in the building and I'm like a celebrity, like Colleen said. So,
Yes.
and then also I try to follow them all on Instagram, right? I try to interact with their posts. How great is it that I walk in the building and they're like, oh my gosh, Brooke, you liked a photo of that like short bob I did. And it was really great. Like, thank you so much. And it doesn't take me any time, but it feels like the world to them.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, Colleen, I gotta know this because everyone's gonna ask us these questions. Because how could you even afford someone like Brooke? Okay, because most salon owners are like, I gotta do all this by myself, right? And so let's talk about that. I know this is an 8-hour conversation, but let's try to pin it down.
So, well, there's so many parts to it. Number one, in the beginning, it's not like Roberto and myself did the marketing, did operations, did absolutely everything. It takes
Right.
time. It's these small steps. So even if you don't have somebody full-time doing these things, sending cupcakes, making a quick video, doing a visit, even if it's just one visit to a class, like that makes all the difference. So it doesn't have to be a full-time job. For us, one huge change that happened is, like Brooke said, when we started, we hired a marketing manager after a few years. And I don't know if you are familiar with Gary Vee. So Gary Vee,
Love
okay.
him.
So
Yeah.
Roberto, huge Gary Vee fan, and
Mhm.
he actually went to a conference and Gary Vee said to him, you need to hire a marketing manager. And
Yeah.
Roberto's like, I can't afford a marketing manager. He's like, you can't, what is it? You can't not afford a marketing manager.
Okay,
So
that's good.
we figured it out. We made it work. We brought someone on who's absolutely unbelievable. Her name's Naomi. She's been on some of our podcasts and she was just out of school, in marketing. What were you saying, Brooke?
She's phenomenal.
She is
Like,
phenomenal. She has grown so much. I remember her first day and we look back and laugh at it. And so we had her working like frontline and everything. Anyways, so marketing manager and bringing on a marketing team has like changed the game. So same thing. We have a few podcasts on like, you can't afford to hire a marketing manager in this moment. Here are a few things that you can do as a salon owner to get things started. So our marketing team has managed to bring in like I even have this down here, an unbelievable amount of new guests for us, which has helped bring in, we were talking about this $500,000 in additional revenue.
Okay.
This is marketing. So this is not just marketing, but a huge part of it. So in 2022, they recruited 4,478 new guests.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's not just referrals, retention, which are hugely important. And that's kind of what we talk to our stylists about. But we have a whole nother part, which is our marketing team, which brings in, creates buzz, has great social media presence, and it gets people excited about coming in for the first time.
right now, between both locations, we're seeing on average about 350 new guests per month. So
Wow. Okay,
yeah.
repeat that. Is that salon or total in both salons?
Total for both locations, we're seeing
Wow.
350 guests per month, brand new, never been before. And it's been consistently that way for about at least a year. Yeah.
Okay. So now we just I'm kind of speechless by that. That is a ton of new people. So let's talk about your marketing strategies, because that's what started my interest in this. Because like Tina said, most salons they have a person that's behind the chair that takes a few pictures, posts something for the salon, and hope that's good. But I mean, to do the type of revenue you guys have done and to have the new guests, what are some of your strategies? I know it mentioned in there your ad campaigns and new guest offers. So let's kind of talk through those.
Yeah, so I feel like kind of an imposter because I would want to do Naomi proud being here, and I'm sure she would love to be on your podcast as well because
We will have her on. We will
yeah,
have
she can get into the nitty-gritty. She's a genius. She's a genius.
Yeah.
Really, whenever I sit in marketing meetings with Roberta and Naomi, I see that they get so granular with like what has worked in the past. Let's run 2 different campaigns, see which one is more popular. Even down to things like where are we going to focus? Are we going to focus on more on TikTok, on Google? They look and see where a lot of our businesses come from, do more of a focus on that.
Right.
One really important thing, which I've learned, is when you get new guests, make sure you find their new guest source. Where are they coming from? Because that hugely helps your team, whether you have a marketing team or you're just one owner, that helps your team figure out, okay, where do I need to focus? Because if I'm posting 10 videos a day to Instagram and 90% of my guests are coming from Googling us. Like, why am I focusing on the wrong thing? So that's been a huge help as well. What do you got, Brooke?
Wow.
Yeah, we also are super big on our new guest referrals. That's also been a huge help. So we have a give 20, get 20. So if you refer somebody to us, we'll give them their $20 on their first visit. And once they come and visit us, we'll give you $20 on your next visit. So people continuously refer and keep getting referred to their friends, their family, their husbands, their kids, right? So then by the end of it, they're like, oh, I get a free haircut. So, and it only puts more bums in seats for us. So it's really a win-win.
Unbelievable. This
I-
is so good.
I love that. So that's definitely the give 20, get 20 is a great marketing. For those listening, we will have Naomi coming up on a podcast.
Yeah, and we're gonna have you guys back again. This is so good. Every week, every week.
I love that.
So just so our listeners, I know you said your first location is 12 chairs. How big is your second location?
Yes, our second location is eight chairs.
And what does a typical work week look like for you? Are you 7 days a week, 4 days, 5 days?
Yeah, so currently we're 5 days a week. We're currently closed Sunday, Monday. We're really trying to maximize the time behind the chairs, or the time that we have the chairs available, getting stylists in them. So we're open 10 to 10, Tuesday to Thursday.
Okay.
People that come in later. And then on Friday, we're open 10 to 8, Saturday 9 to 5. Both locations currently. We will be opening longer hours eventually. But yeah, just want to make sure it makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, the layout of how your chairs are utilized, is it because it says you have 29 employees? So are you breaking their days up and sharing chairs, or is it like somebody works 10 to 10 2 days a week and then somebody works 10 to 10 the other two? Like how does your scheduling necessarily work?
So for our full-time senior stylists who are our top level stylists, they kind of have their chair to say. So if they're going to work, like their chair is going to be available. However, when they're not working, let's say they are working 10 to 6 and then their chair is open from 6 to 10, that's when we'd have one of our new talent stylists available to come and work. So we're actually maximizing that chair. We also have a new rotation that our new talent stylists are working 6-hour shifts. So that the chair is being maximized to its fullest, because then they're working 10 to 4 and 4 to 10. So then that chair is never empty.
Yeah. Your new stylists, are you bringing them on as assistants, and how soon before they start taking clients, and how do you work that process?
Yeah, they're brought in as new talent assistants, so new talent level 1. And we usually do about training is about 6 weeks. And then 6 weeks, they're on the floor and have their first guest day. And something that's really worked well for us is having them open on a Saturday as being their full first guest day. So that way it's easier to fill, right? Like Saturdays are very abundant with guests. Very, very fortunate for that. So opening them up a full day on a Saturday, there's lots of salon support that day. Everybody's here from 9 to 5. So it's been working really, really well.
That's something that is a little bit different that I've learned that we do as opposed to some other salons is part of the process as you grow within our salon in levels is you at a certain level become a mentor within the salon. So all of our new talent don't feel alone. There's always mentors in the salon in every shift that they can go to and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Go to them for consultations, get a final check, just make sure the guest is feeling really good and the new talent stylist is feeling really good after. We've seen so many times new talents, they started a salon and they don't get to work on guests for such a long time, such a long time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now you can have a guest day. And then they're like, oh my God, I don't think I know how to care anymore. So our goal, getting them on guests as soon as possible, getting them comfortable. Guests are fully aware, if you're with a new talent, your service could take longer. We have them this is our process. So they're,
but your experience will be the exact same.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that verbiage. That was great. So as far as staffing, do you have full-time assistants that assist the entire salon that's their role?
For only for about 4 weeks, right? And then
So
we get a new, yeah.
Wow.
So we find it works.
Brilliant.
so well that way, where it's like you bring in new talent, they start to get comfortable with your processes, your software system. They have some shifts frontline, some shifts assisting, and then they slowly work into more guest days. They fill those guest days, they assist less, they have more guest days, and then we bring somebody else on. So it's really worked well for us in that way.
Amazing. Okay, so I want to flip the coin here and I want you to share some of the mistakes that you've made and also mistakes you're seeing with other salon owners that you could give advice.
Do you have?
No, you can go first.
Oh man, there's
Like I
always,
have a
like,
list.
Yeah.
I like say, like, I think one of the biggest mistakes is not allowing yourself to make mistakes. And I think that sounds cliche,
Yeah.
but it's like we are, as salon owners, we are human. And I think it's so important for us to say to people like, hey, we're not like up here, like we want to be part of like the solution. We're here for our team. We're not here to just make a whole bunch of money and not have anything to do with it. Like, we're here for your team. We want to create like the most amazing environment. And I think it's important for teams to know salon owners aren't perfect. We try to be, but we're not. So there's gonna be things. I'm trying to think like, this is terrible. I know there have been little things on the spot. I'm like, what are things?
Oh,
But
this is good. Tell me the day in the life of Colleen right now. I want to hear because I want to kind of compare this to some of our partners and our stylists too.
Yeah, of course. So, most important thing, whether it's like Brooke or myself, our number one thing is stylists and guests. And it doesn't go like guest stylists, because we really feel if we take care of our stylists and they feel supported, they're going to take care of our guests. That's just how it works.
That's good.
So yeah, number one thing. So if I'm like working on something and they're like, everybody's busy and I really need a consult, and I'm there for it. Brooke, if she's doing orders or inventory and somebody's like, Brooke, I need help at the front with a gift card. Yeah, we've taught you 16 times how to do a gift card, but
Right
I'll
there.
be there for you. For some reason, gift cards are a thing, but so all of my days are different. I spend 8 hours a week behind the chair working on guests because I love doing hair, and I think it's really important. And I think that the team needs to see their leaders
The best possible example. Like, let's be
Yes.
honest.
like walking the walk,
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
what works. And also, if I stop doing hair, how am I supposed to teach? Like, I couldn't even imagine. So I work behind the chair 8 hours a week. We have meetings, we work with some amazing companies, one being Cunity. So we have a salon
Cunity.
coach. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Cody's our salon
Life-changing.
coach. Life-changing. It's so nice to have like a third party in there that can really help you grow, challenge you, let you know you're doing the right thing, like just keep going, all those sorts of things. So meetings with Cunity. You can see behind me, this is our 8 seasons. So you can't see all the details, but we break our year into 8 seasons. So I'm in charge of, after we kind of come up with our plan for the year, I'm in charge of every season, which is 6 weeks. I create something called 5 functions. And it's broken down into all your different parts like marketing, HR, education, finance, and thank you.
Mine.
And so we write it down. Before we were like, we have all these great ideas. And then we're like, did we do any of those?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we didn't. So this is making us like walk the walk. So we write them down and we create a plan, who's in charge of it, when's it going to be completed by, and then at the end of the month, we love to go through our list after and we're like, check. So that's been very helpful. So I spend a lot of time with that, reaching out, creating new business, just supporting where I can. So I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah. What's one of the mistakes you think you've made as far as leadership? Maybe recently that's kind of near and dear to your heart. I know I have a list of things that keep happening, so I always have to share them right away because otherwise then I forget because it's such a great lesson for myself.
I was just thinking about this when I went home last night because I was thinking, I'm like, I just worked a 12-hour day, and in my head on the way home, I was like, was I smiling at that person? Did my face make a face when they asked me that? Did I respond in an appropriate way? Should I have asked her that way? Did I ask it in a question, or did I tell them what to do? Did I manage them or did I lead them? Right. So I'm constantly, I'm doing my own checks and balances. So I think for me, I'm always like, am I always failing? I don't know, but we're just keep trying. So I always try to do an end of the day check-in of, how did I do today? And some days are better than others, but like I said, we're all human. So it's It's all I'm always learning.
Yeah, same thing. And the biggest thing is, do people know that like I care about them and like
Yeah.
what's going on in their lives? And if there's ever a moment where maybe it seems like they don't see that, I give myself a really hard time.
Right?
But it's true. But then I think honestly, transparency is like the most important thing. Transparency as a salon leader, don't try to have secrets. It's like it doesn't work in the end. You know, as far as how you're paying your team, like
Mhm.
let them know, be open with it. We've had some different conversations around commission, and it's a tough subject because if every salon paid the same way, it would be much easier. So, you know, if everybody, if there were like no cost of service, no product charges, and everyone just paid a straight commission on the amount, great. It would all be slightly lower, but people have different amounts of product charges. So someone says, oh, I'm making 60% commission. And you're like, how is that even possible? There's so many ins and outs. So
Right.
one thing I think salon owners have to be better at explaining and having their team know how they're getting paid.
Yeah. How do you do that? How do you have those conversations with your team? Give us something tangible.
Yeah. So again, like we're so open. So when we have staff meetings, we go through the numbers. So our last staff meeting we had, Roberto, we always give him something that he's like in charge of for the staff meeting.
Yeah.
He actually broke down, went into our P&L and said, you know, for every $100 that comes in revenue into our salon, this is where it goes. So it's kind of like an eye-opening experience. And I remember getting that when I was a stylist and I went to a meeting. Our salon owner actually did that as well quite a long time ago. And I was like, oh, like people sometimes think salon owners are making all this money. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's not the case. I mean, they need to make, like, it's not a dirty word. They need to make money to be open to
Yeah.
have, like, you're gonna have
Right.
to work if they don't. But when you see, oh, all this money goes into like the operations and marketing and professional fees, like there's so much to it, I think then they have more of a respect and understanding in that point. So staff meetings, also in one-on-ones, we'll break things down like, okay, so this is how you're being paid. Let's break it down and make it so you understand it and you're confident with it.
Especially when we have
We need Roberto on this next too. So Naomi and
Absolutely.
Roberto.
Good team.
I was just gonna say it's super important, especially when you have people moving from new talent, which is like, you know, fixed wage versus commission. Those conversations get a little bit muddy sometimes, and we want to make sure that it's very clear for them. So Colleen does an excellent job of laying that out and going through it with them when it's time. And it's very, very open door. So if they have any questions at any time, from when they start to when they're on guest, anytime they can ask about anything about wage.
Love that. You mentioned one-on-ones. How often are you having them? Who's having them? And kind of what's the layout?
You want to take that one, Brooke?
Sure, yeah, we do them every 6 weeks. So we break our year into seasons, and there's 8 seasons in the year. So every 6 weeks at the end of the season, we go through it with each of our team. I have the new talent team as of recently. So like my little babies, I try to take care of them the best that I can. Then Colleen does more of our mid and senior stylist levels. She does those every 6 weeks as well. So between the two of us right now, we're doing them. But of course, that's going to have to grow and change over time the more team that we get. So.
Awesome. As we kind of close this out, we will have both of you back and Roberto and Naomi. Like I can just see this becoming a series. Like you guys have all the knowledge. Colleen, you mentioned something in regards to gift cards and how they're huge for you. How I really want to hear that because that is not always the case in salons.
Right.
Okay, let me rephrase that.
It's gonna be even better.
People learning how to sell gift cards is
really difficult.
Is a challenge for us, but it is a challenge because honestly, we don't sell a ton of gift cards. That's not our focus.
Got you. Okay. Then
to learn how to do it is the that's the kicker.
The whole other kicker. Okay. Yeah, when you figure it out, let us know or vice versa.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. You know, one other thing that I didn't mention, I just want to add in there really, really quickly is that we recently brought on Maya and Katie Whittlage. We met her originally. We were on one of her podcasts. I don't know if it was a couple of years ago. I'm terrible with time, but have you heard of Maya before? Oh my goodness. So
I think we need to. Yeah.
It's a matchmaking service for guests.
I have heard of it. Yes.
Yeah. So we have a
Cosmo quiz.
It is like a Cosmo quiz. And who doesn't like to take quizzes? Apparently,
Yeah.
a ton of people like to take quizzes because we have a ton of people taking them every single month on our website.
Right.
So you go in, we have our stylists fill out a survey, and it's all about what do you enjoy doing? What's your personality type? What's your love language? Like all different things. Then somebody goes onto our website, chooses one of our locations, and gets to take a little quiz. And then they get matched with 3 stylists that would be great fits for them. This has
Yeah.
been amazing for us. We have the
Yes.
amount of appointments that are booked from people that take these quizzes is insane, and it's wonderful.
Okay, so that's what it was, because I was on your website playing around and I was like, let me just see the team, and it started asking me all these questions and I'm like, I've never answered this many. Okay.
Did you book an appointment?
I did not book an appointment. I was like, wow, this is,
I might
I've
be
never,
calling you for a follow-up, so.
Yeah.
you very well might. That's awesome. So any final
Amazing.
words to salon owners, salon leaders out there in regards to hiring, growth, marketing? And before you do that, how can they find you? You've mentioned a podcast, but how can they find your salon? How can they get in touch with you guys?
Yeah,
I
so
was
our
gonna say,
podcast,
just ask us, because if you have any questions, come and ask us. We'll gladly answer them.
and we
Oh.
love collaborating. Like
Yeah.
we love sharing with other people, and then we've got some amazing ideas from other wonderful salon owners and managers that have been willing to share with us. And this is how we've grown. And we don't know everything. We want to, and we just try to get better each day and learn from any mistakes that happen in the moment, and we're okay with that. Okay, Hair Blazers. So Hair Blazers is our podcast. So
Okay.
yeah, and you can get it anywhere where you get podcasts. And if you want to see our faces, you can go on YouTube and watch it as well. And Instagram, I'm just at Colleen.Lamrand, very plain. It's just my name.
Mine's Broooke.Verde Aveda. And then we also have, of course, the salon Instagram, which is Verde Aveda Salon.
Love that.
And of course, our website, verdesalon.ca, and all the places, TikTok, and
All the things.
all the things.
I love that. Any last pieces of advice from each of you before we go to, especially on leadership, that you would give salons?
I would say, don't be too hard on yourselves. I think as leaders, we expect perfection, and we think we see it out there, and you don't have to be perfect. I think if people know like what you're saying and what you're doing is coming from the right place, that you're going to be okay.
And if you can find a way in your budget somehow to hire outside help to have that third party view, it's been super, super helpful for us. So if that's something that you're able to do, I would highly, highly recommend it.
I agree.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Thank you guys.
Visit schools.
When visit the schools, please go
Yes,
visit
get
the schools.
in the schools. That's amazing. Yeah, I think we could do a whole segment just on that, to be honest with you, because that's, I think, where every salon is struggling, including ours. So well done, you two.
Go
Thank you.
listen to the last episode of Hair Blazers, because we talked about recruitment the whole time. So
All right.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
We'll be on. I will be listening. Thank you both.
Thank you for having us. It's been fun.
Thank you guys. We'll be in touch soon.
Sounds
All right,
great.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.